Okay, I have finished the 21st row, and so, oops, what I'm going to do is join my stitches together so that I can cut my yarn and tie it off and then weave in my ends. So as you can see, we have done the half double crochet all the way up to, there's our chain one where we turned. Here's the stitch right next to it where I'm going to put my hook through, join with a slip stitch, and then I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to cut my yarn off here. I'm going to pull this through, snug that up just like that, and then I'm just going to weave in this end. So here we have my little needle. Oops. What I like to do is, as you can see, we have this little knot here. To help hide that, I like to go down into that last stitch. And I'm going to pull that through like that. So it kind of helps hide that little knot a little better. Now, as far as weaving in goes, if you're not quite familiar with that yet, what your goal is to make sure that your little tail doesn't come back out, you know, as you're wearing your scarf or washing it in the future. And as I've heard plenty of crocheters say, this is not an exact science. You basically just need to kind of go back and forth through your stitches until you feel you've really secured your tail. Now, I like to leave kind of a longer tail so that I can go a couple of different directions with my weaving. And you don't want to pull so tight that you distort the shape of any of your stitches. So I've heard some people make kind of a W shape. I've heard with the direction of how they weave back and forth, I've heard some people make a C, a letter C. And I'm just kind of all over the place. I kind of end up making a circle, I think, typically. I've tried the W, you know, I've tried the C, and I'm just kind of anal and like to make some little loopies if I've got enough yarn there to continue to play with. If I don't have that much yarn left and I'm, you know, at the end of my skein, then I don't worry about it. But then I kind of give it a little tug, snip it right off, and there we have our finished end. Now I gotta weave back in the beginning. But what I wanted to point out to you guys about this particular pattern, the reason I think it's such a classic stitch pattern, is it's just so simple. And there's not a whole lot to it, but to me that makes it very versatile. And like I was saying a minute ago, you know, if you wanted to wear it inside out, you've got a little bit different of a look. And you can see here, this is where we joined our rows. And to me, that is a much smoother finish than whenever I have made just, you know, a big long rectangle for a scarf and then stitched the ends together. I feel like, you know, my seam is always a little bit bulky. And plus, I've had it, you know, I made an infinity scarf last year that's really wide. It's one of those that you can switch back and forth between kind of a shawl kind of look. But where my seaming was last year, or the one that I did last year, it's now coming apart because I've used it so much. And I feel like making the infinity scarf in the way that we're doing now, the way that I'm showing you, is more secure, and that appeals to me a lot. So we're gonna weave in our last little tail here and stitch up the very beginning. Let me scoot that down so you can see it. And this is a little more wonky, you know, because this is where we started from. So since I've made several of these, I've just kind of played with how I've liked the stitching to go. And this is something you can play with as well. But basically, I try to make it look as natural as possible. But I still want it to be secure. So my stitches don't look, you know, totally original here. But that's okay. I tend to make sure that this seam is at the back whenever I wear my scarves. And then I'm going to weave this back and forth a few more times to secure it. But basically, here is the single loop cowl. And there's from the front. Let me scoot my camera back just a little bit so you can see it a little better. And then whenever you put it on, it kind of just scrunches up around your neck. And you just pull it over your head. And so here is my pattern. I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. Also, definitely give me your feedback on my very first series of videos. I'm sure it's very antiquated compared to other people and what they've produced. But I felt like this was really the best way for me to communicate my pattern to you. As you'll see on my blog, I'll also have the written instructions, but especially with my foundation crochet stitch, since it's not something you can really, since it's unnamed, I just wanted to be able to communicate to you exactly how I was doing it. But as you can see, here are the beginning and end, beginning and final rows, and then all the stitches in the middle. So, and then there's our joins. But I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to your feedback, and let me know if you make any of these and what you think. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.